Hi, I'm David. I own and operate Country Whatnot Gardens here outside of Rochester, Indiana, which is about an hour south of the Michigan state line. I grow 25 different species and varieties of bamboo, such as Phylostachys parvifolia directly behind me. And as you can see, it's very unhappy this morning. This is morning, by the way. It'll be afternoon until I get this video uploaded and available. But right now, this division was set in last fall. It's couple-year-old culms. You can tell by the culm color. When the culms first come up, they are dark green. You can see on its new shoot here how dark green, I can focus on it, there we go, how dark green it is, and then they fade out as they get older. Now, the reason it is unhappy, you can see by these curled leaves, is that it's too dry. And first I want to say it is much easier and much more detrimental to overwater bamboo than to underwater it. So if it starts curling like this, it's not the end of the world, but you do need to get it some water. Now, I am all the way out here. The water is all the way up there. I do not have enough garden hose, so I have wheelbarrowed out here a partial tub of water. Fortunately, I have a nice stone path here that makes pushing this wheelbarrow a lot easier. Now, the other thing I have here with me is a leaky water can. It leaks right there. It's an old water can. I have had this water can since I was a teenager. Being careful not to set it on either of the new chutes, this one here or that one there, and looking carefully to see if there aren't any others. I'm going to set this so that the leak down here, let's see, right there, where's the leak? There it is towards the root ball, kind of over it. Now, I want to water this slowly so that that water goes in deep and saturates. If we look here, we can see that the ground is cracked out away from the root ball. The root ball's on back here. This is on out. This is how dry the ground is. We have gone from 1 week to the next, practically, of too much water to not enough water. It's quite a predicament, but that's usually the way it goes here in the Midwest US. But you can see the leaves are curled, or cupped at least. They're not quite curled, all the way to the top. And if I did not get this water, these leaves would continue to go until they're completely curled up, resembling this one right here. All the leaves on the entire plant would look like that. They would curl up tight as needles. And it does that to reduce surface leaf area that is available to the sun and the heat and the wind, to reduce evaporation, to conserve water. Now, if that goes on too long, the plant can stress and die. So you want to get it water. You don't want to leave it go like this. Now, bamboo is drought tolerant once it's established, but that takes a few years. In the meantime, you don't want it to completely dry out or get drought stressed, because it can have many adverse effects on it, stunting, dying, you name it. You don't want that. So get it water just as soon as you can here. It did start to cup like this just this morning. It was fine last night when I checked it. So I'm catching it just in time here, getting it, again, that slow drip of water so it can get in there and thoroughly saturate that soil around that root ball. Now, if we go over here to the main grove, that piece was a division off of last fall. And this grove is established. It's been here for 9 years or better. We can take a look and see that its leaves look fine. They're not cupped. It's not drought stressed. Check that out. It's established. It's handling this fine. Once you get it established, it would take a lot of drought to affect an established grove. Now, that being said, it does take a few years to get them to that point. So you don't want to overwater them either. Overwatering is worse than underwatering, because you will rot the root ball, the roots on it. Here's another little one here that's probably going to need some water. It's been set here a couple years. You can see it's starting to cup a little bit. Not as badly as that one over there that was set in just last fall, but it's still getting there a little bit. Now, let's say you are within reach of a watering hose, and you don't have to push water to it, or otherwise get it there by some other means, tractor, trailer, truck, or wherever you've planted your bamboo, maybe way out, whatever you have to do to get water to it. Let's say you can get water to it with a hose. You want to use here, ideally, one of these with an adjustable flow thing on it right there. You can see how you can adjust this, and it works really well. This was another plant that was set in just last fall, and you can see the leaves are starting to cup a little bit on it as well. I've had the water running to this one here for a few minutes, and it should be getting pretty saturated because I had it on a decent rate. These, this end here, we call a rose right there because it has holes there. This makes the water come out slower than if you just had an open end on the hose here. That way you're not washing away the soil from over your root ball. You don't want to wash your soil out and expose your roots. See how the water's broken up there? It breaks it up, makes it nice and gentle. I'm going to leave this. I'm going to put this down here, kind of turn it up like this. That's kind of spraying up like this, not directly in the soil. You don't want that force right on the soil. And turn it to its side a bit and let that run a few minutes right there while I go back over here and check on that one that was set in, the other one that was set in last fall that was cupping its leaves a little bit more severely than some of these others, and see how that watering can is doing. But when the soil is this dry, it's our soil, when it's this dry anyway, the type of soil we have is hard as a rock, and it's difficult to water it from the top and get it to saturate through unless you run it for several minutes like I'm doing up there with that watering wand with the rose on the end of it. Now, I'm going to take this and see if I can get it to accept any of this without it running off, because the watering can was already about half empty. It had dripped out. You know what they say, a dry sponge can't absorb water, right? Running it slow, letting it drip like that, just helps soak up that soil so that it can take on a little bit more water. But as this gets water to it, it will begin to uncurl these leaves here, and then you'll know it's got enough water. But if you overwater it and your ground is soggy, that's not good either. You don't want soggy soil for your bamboo roots. You'll rot them. That's why I say it's better if you underwater sometimes versus overwater. Bamboo does not want a lot of water. It is not a swamp plant. Species such as Atravaginata and so forth that have the air channels in the rhizome, they can handle wetter soil once they're established. But if you set them into wet soil to start with, they'll still rot. If you put them in the ones that can take more water, like Atravaginata, if you put them in just regular well-drained soil above your floodplain or where the water is, they will eventually grow down to the water. But if you start them out there, they are still going to rot. You can't start them out there. No bamboo. But parvifolia here especially does not want standing water, and it does not want soggy feet. But I need to tip this tub a bit so I can get my watering can in there a bit better. This is a little bit extra work with it being out here beyond the hose and everything, but it's worth it. Now, I have had droughts before where I have had entire groves. The drought has been so bad where I've had entire groves leaf curl, and that's a bad summer. And I've had people before come to me wanting me to dig plants for them at that time. It's like, sorry, I can't. A drought-stricken grove will not produce viable divisions. And they'll say, well, can't you water the grove? And it's like, I could dump a swimming pool, an Olympic-sized swimming pool in that grove, and it would not be enough. I could run water on it until my well pump burns up, and it would not be enough water. What you need then at that point is rain. And if you don't have rain, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Because you would have to have an enormous commercial-sized well to be able to get enough water to an entire grove. That would just be a crazy amount of water. But you can see the surface of the soil is getting darker, taking on that water. It's hard to see with the lawn here and the few weeds that they're there over the root ball that I've left there just to kind of shade the soil. It's hard to see if I don't have any water running off, but with this crack that was in the ground over here, if my water's running anywhere, I would suspect that it's running into that crack in the soil. Now, let me see about this here. I can lift this up out of here. I don't have much water left in this tub, so I'm just going to take the whole tub and slowly pour it. Let's see. Okay, let me see if I can get this down there. Okay, it's hard to do. Okay, there we go. You can see I'm just slowly pouring that. I'm not like flooding it with this tub of water. But to use up the rest of my water. Now, I can check this later today and see if the leaves are uncupping. And if they are, then it's got enough water. And we're good. So don't let your new divisions dry out. If they dry out, you've got problems, big problems. And you don't want that because you could lose it. But like I say, with getting water to it, these leaves should begin to uncup. It usually happens pretty quick if you've sufficiently watered it. Sometimes, just a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes or so. You can also, if you have a way to get a garden hose out here with a misting nozzle on it, you can also mist these leaves to get water to it by foliar means to help uncurl them a little bit sooner too. That helps a lot. And also, don't use chlorinated water. That can kill your bamboo. If you have chlorinated water, you need to leave it stand first so that the chlorine gas gases off and evaporates out of it before you give it to the plant. If you live in a municipality that is switching over to the new water treatment method I have heard of, which I believe is called chloramine, not chlorine, but chloramine, that stuff is, I hear, almost impossible to get out of your water. I don't know what you would do. Maybe there's some type of treatment of some type of drops or something you could put in that would remove it. I don't know. You'd have to look into that because I don't live where there's chlorinated water. So if you have any idea about how to remove specifically chloramine from water, city water, for somebody who lives in the city, please leave that helpful comment in the comments below so that people know how to take out chloramine, not chlorine, but chloramine, the new water treatment that a lot of municipalities are going to, because you definitely don't want to use that. That will kill your plants right out. But that has been a look at what bamboo looks like when it's unhappy due to lack of water and what to do about it. Different ways to get water to it. Ideally, water it slowly so it goes in deep. You want that so it's thoroughly saturated. If you liked the video, found it useful and helpful, please give me a like, subscribe, and share. I'd really appreciate it. Till next time, thank you for stopping by and take care. Bye.